very fortunate that there weren't 38 of these people that were all locked inside that vehicle dead.
The death toll rises today following a smuggling tragedy. 38 people found inside a hot semi-trailer at a Walmart on the city's southwest side.
Each one of them had heart rates over about 130 beats per minute, which again, they were very hot to the touch. So these people were in that trailer without any signs of any type of water. So you're looking at a lot of a heat stroke, a lot of dehydration.
It is a sad reality that is more common than we may think.
This happens more than you can realize because people are desperate to flee other countries and come to this country.
The San Antonio community remembering the victims who are gone and praying for those clinging to life in the hospital.
I just can't imagine them being stuck in there and dying when they thought they were going to come here for a better life.
People are so desperate for a better life, a safer life, that sometimes they're willing to take the risk because things are so bad in their home country.
Good afternoon, I'm Deborah Knapp.
And I'm Jeff Brady. Here's what we know now. 10 people are dead and more than a dozen more remain in the hospital fighting for their lives.
Today we're hearing from survivors and seeing the man who was behind the wheel for the first time. Larry Seward tells us more about James Bradley Jr.
James Matthew Bradley Jr., formerly charged here with transporting undocumented immigrants, claims crimes laid out in this criminal complaint are completely foreign to him.
60-year-old James Matthew Bradley Jr. says he drove from the border over 2 hours to San Antonio unaware of people being smuggled in his truck's trailer until he heard banging and shaking in this Walmart parking lot. Inside, he saw people on the floor like meat. Some dead, others barely alive, a few dozen others able to run away. Bradley never called 911 but claims he tried to help.
No, I don't buy that story. It was already set up.
One victim from Aguascalientes, Mexico, told authorities he paid smugglers tied to the Zetas cartel over $5,000 to carry him to Texas. He and 28 others crossed into Laredo in river rafts. There, coyotes collected more money, organized migrants using colored tape, then loaded groups into pitch-black trailers without air conditioning, food, or water. Conditions so stifling, people passed out. Migrants even took turns breathing through a hole in a wall. Those strong enough made noise to get the driver's attention, but say he never stopped. Once Bradley did open the trailer, survivors claim 6 black SUVs were there waiting to pick people up. This alleged smuggling operation does not surprise San Antonio's Pedro Ramos.
It does not surprise me how organized they are. It's a common fact. I had one family member who happened to be one. All right, and I know they made a lot of money.
If convicted in court, Bradley could pay with his life or spend his final days in prison.
Bradley could get bond. A judge will rule on that here Thursday during a preliminary hearing. In downtown San Antonio, I'm Larry Seward. Now back to you.
Today, for the first time, we are hearing from someone who has spoken with several people who were in that hot truck.
Eyewitness News reporter Karen Gray sat down with the Consulate General of San Antonio, who's met one-on-one with many of the survivors.
We are here at San Antonio's Mexican consulate, where we sat down face-to-face with Ambassador Reina Torres, who actually visited with those immigrants recovering at local hospitals.
Well, of course, this is a human tragedy. And the saddest part, of course, is the situation that these people were put in.
The survivors told her about how they were crammed inside a hot semi-trailer.
Imagine a large group of people enclosed in a metal container for hours without any air conditioning or water.
One of the survivors talked about struggling to breathe through a hole in the trailer. A lot of what they told her was hard to hear.
Of course, this is always something that goes beyond our duties here in the consulate. Our first obligation and our first duty, of course, is to provide them with assistance. Of course, the second priority is to make sure that the relatives are informed. We have talked to all of them. This is a human tragedy, and it affects, of course, the community, it affects the country. Its focus should be to help those that have been affected.
The consulate will offer legal help to the survivors who are from Mexico. Karen Grace, back to you.
KENS 5 has learned of numerous incidents since June 2nd in which immigration and border officials have discovered, detained, or rescued immigrants packed into tractor-trailer rigs, attempting to sneak across the border. Most incidents happened along I-35 near Laredo. 48 were found on June 2nd, 44 on June 19th, 10 on the 4th of July, 72 3 days later, and 33 were found the next day. They were all 10 were discovered on July 14th, and then the 38 who were found here, including the 10 who died. That is 250 people in just the past 7 weeks. 2:55. Congressman Joaquin Castro says it is time to come together as Americans to prevent this tragedy from happening again. He spoke to us today and said we all must work together. Jeff?
A similar deadly human smuggling case happened in Victoria back in 2003. In that case, 19 documented immigrants were found dead after being left inside a trailer. They died of suffocation, dehydration, and hypothermia, and 55 others survived. And officials say the temperatures reached 170 degrees in that case inside that abandoned trailer. Tyrone Williams, the truck driver, was convicted on a number of charges in connection to the deaths. Williams was sentenced to 34 years in prison, and this incident in Victoria is now known as the deadliest human smuggling case in the United States. And tonight on Eyewitness News at 6, we'll head to Victoria to talk about that tragedy. Now, Immigration and Customs Enforcement quickly responded to that tragedy. Acting Director Thomas Homan wrote, "By any standard, the horrific crime uncovered last night ranks as a stark reminder of why human smuggling networks must be pursued, caught, and punished." He also said these networks have repeatedly shown a reckless disregard for those they smuggle. If you think you know someone who could have been in that truck or who went missing somewhere along the way, ICE does have an emergency tip line you can call at any time. That number is 1-866-347-2423.